Now.
Hey, good evening, everyone, and welcome. This is Rob Creed here, your very proud president of HCTA. We want to get you guys a relatively brief message to help you with going back tomorrow. Stephanie and I, our executive director here, had a very long meeting and productive meeting with the district today. But we want to share with you some of the information that was then emailed out to principals late this afternoon. First of all, for tomorrow, and going back for our very first day of pre-planning, if you have asked for an accommodation and you have been labeled whether it is a red, orange, or yellow, okay, and you have been told that you are going to be teaching e-learning or HVS, you do not need to go into the sites tomorrow. If you have actually asked for an accommodation but have not yet heard from your school site, then you too are not going to be going into the school site tomorrow. But we do recommend that you email your principal and find out what your designation would be and what your job will be for this school year. And the rest of us will be going to the brick and mortar. Stephanie?
Well, and I was going to say, especially for people who, as you guys know, they started out doing teacher requests. They did then move to ESP requests. And teachers have changed their mind over the course of the last couple of weeks. And so, especially if you have put in a request in the last day or two, or if you are an ESP and you haven't necessarily heard anything, what we want to make sure you do is, especially in the case where you've got a potential medical issue, we want to make sure you email your principal. Let them know your request is pending, and so you will not be reporting, but that you are available for training or whatever it is they may need. We never want you to sort of just be not there and nobody know why. And so if you're in this place where you don't have all the information, just make sure you email your principal and seek their guidance.
Upon going to school tomorrow, all adults will be checked, have a temperature check to make sure that you are 100.4 or below. And schools will be creating some sort of protocol where they will sign you in daily without you physically having to sign a paper or use the clipboard or even use a computer and everybody's keying in on the same device. What that will look like will be different from each site, but basically there'll be an employee there that as you get your temperature taken, they will then mark you present for the day. So we want to make sure that there was a protocol around you guys not touching the same pen or computer upon going to school.
And just on this note, we do want to let members know we raised the issue that if kids were going to be under the honor system in terms of temperature that many of you had raised, you'd like the same. I think for this initial moment, where we don't have enough people on campus that it's too onerous to do, I think, they want to test this procedure. It isn't that you're not trusted. It's simply that the reality is they could temperature check 50 people. They can't temperature check really realistically 500 or 1,000 kids or more in a high school. So they do want to stick with this now just to, I think, test it out and see how it's working, but they know the opinion of many teachers on this.
Each school will host virtual meetings whenever possible, and they will eliminate mass gatherings. So what is a mass gathering? Each school should host face-to-face meetings that are 25 individuals or less, with all participants wearing face coverings and practicing physical social distancing as much as possible. So 25 individuals or less, and that is, of course, determined by the size of the room that you're in. Stephanie?
Yeah, in terms of the 25, in our discussions, we did talk about that if you're going to have 25 people, that should be in a media center. It should be in a larger space, cafeteria, other bigger than a classroom spot. If you're in a classroom, we're looking at less than 10 people in those rooms. And so just to make that clear.
And those of you that will be working in the brick and mortar buildings, your virtual meetings will still take place with you physically at the brick and mortar building, but you would be able to social distance in your classroom or in a spot where you were comfortable having and holding that virtual meeting for yourself. Each school will provide every employee with masks and necessary PPE for their sanitation stations. We were assured by the superintendent today that a lot of this is already delivered during the day today, and it will be available for you tomorrow. So you should have all of the things that you need to be as sanitary as possible, and please do the very best that you can in social distancing at every point throughout pre-planning.
Yeah, remember everybody, everybody's sort of comfort level with all of this is the spectrum is wide in terms of this may be the first big venturing out for some people. Others of you are not that worried, all of which everybody can feel however they feel, but just, let's try to just remember to be respectful of people, not since you won't know necessarily how every member of your faculty feels. And we also do want to let you know, for instance, we heard from nurses today that they were unsure they had all the right equipment. We did let the district know that in our meeting today. We have been assured nurses will get all appropriate PPE delivered to sites by tomorrow. And so, again, if that is not happening, please do let us know and we will follow up. But the minute we raised it, 2 people left the room and there was a lot of, bustling about to try to make sure things were en route or ready for tomorrow. So just to let you know.
And I'm reading right off the email that was sent to principals this afternoon. In order for schools to implement breakfast in the classroom, you need to obtain a SIP waiver. Once again, what we've told our members from the beginning, you are not required to have breakfast in the classroom. Breakfast in the classroom would necessitate the students removing their masks for obvious reasons. So you need to have a SIP waiver, and 60% have to vote in to have breakfast in the classroom. We've had a lot of discussion around that at our union Zoom meetings, and we recommend that you guys as union members get together, discuss what you guys would like, and then vote in block to help get the vote that you guys deserve. We did talk about a lot of other things today with the district. It was a lengthy meeting. We're trying to hit right now the points that you guys need most urgently starting tomorrow, but know that we did have a productive meeting, and we're getting closer to things to help with some of the questions that you still have. Stephanie?
Yeah, on that note, one of the things that a number of you have raised is that lunch in the classroom has come up at your sites. This is obviously something very specific to this moment in time. We raised it with the district, especially in the context of also this breakfast in the classroom scenario. We are a little concerned about it, just in that if you do both breakfast and lunch, we're not clear where you would get planning or your own duty-free lunch. And even if you're willing to do that in the short term, that can burn you out very quickly. So always be aware of that. But we're also concerned that coverage would potentially become a problem if subs are hard to get or things of that nature. So just again, any kind of change to your duty-free lunch has to be in a SIP waiver. But we are going to suggest you think very carefully about those things for all the reasons Rob mentioned. I do want to note one thing, and this is actually, I don't think we put this in the email. We have clarified a number of things for specials teachers. I think this is important for all of you to hear. Specials, obviously there may be only one of you at any given site. So it is going sort of, I think people's knee-jerk reaction is if half the kids are brick and mortar and half the kids are e-learning, you're gonna have to be brick and mortar. I've told you all before that I think the district can certainly deny accommodations if you can't perform the essential functions of your job. But I also think in this scenario, we shouldn't be sort of just discounting the needs of people who are the only teacher who teaches something at a site. And so I don't think we're going to know necessarily what we can do in the next couple days, But I do think in our conversations, the district was open to some unique ways of dealing with things. So we'll pursue those when we hear from you. Secondarily, many of you said that you would rather kids come to your classrooms just because you can control the safety and sanitation issues in your own class space. And so we did raise that, people felt that way. The district pretty much said that, those things should be discussed at the site level, but they were not going to force, art on a cart or music on a cart, or any of that. They were going to sort of let sites deal with what they want to do. But so just make sure your principals know, certainly in elementary, those of you who are specials, there's usually 3 to 4 of you get together, see if you can all come up with a way you feel about it that is consistent, and then talk to the principal and AP, and we'll go from there. But so far, like I said, when we've raised things with the district, they've been pretty receptive to wanting to respect how you all feel about things. So that is a good beginning sign.
We spoke, well, first of all, if you are and you've been designated an e-learning teacher, you will be delivering instruction from your home. And e-learning teachers will be using either Canvas or Edgenuity, and it will be a much more structured process of delivering those lessons. And you guys are going to learn a little bit about that. But there is still room for teachers to augment and teach the way they normally do. I want to be very clear about that. For the brick and mortar teachers, and you guys know I feel very passionately about this, that you guys have the autonomy to be the teachers and the great educators that you are. So you will be learning about Canvas and the different things that have been downloaded, the lessons that are there, as well as Edgenuity. These would be required trainings, given that we have 3 weeks of trainings that you guys are going to be undergoing. But you are not required to use the things within there. They are going to be recommended. Now, with that recommendation, we do recommend that you get in there and kind of test out the things that are being offered. Look at the lessons and the frameworks and see what works well for your students. And as you navigate the school year, we want to hear from you to tell us what is working and what's not. I mean, it is a unique time where we're using these programs and we're implementing something different at the same time. But you have the ability as the classroom teacher to decide what's right for your kids, what they need, and to meet their needs. So these are going to be more tools for you that are not required but recommended.
And on that note, we do know that for those of you in e-learning, this is going to be a little more strict and structured. And at other times where we weren't focused on a worldwide pandemic or tropical storms on their way, we might be thinking a little bit differently about some of these products and the speed with which they were purchased. The one thing, Rob said, we do want to know what you think about them. But even if for some reason you don't love them, the reason for everybody to know them is, look, first of all, we do not know where the school board will end up next week. The school board could end up going all e-learning for 9 weeks. It could end up, we are exactly where we think we are right now, which is some kids will be brick and mortar, some will be e-learning. But the reality is that at any given time, given we're dealing with a virus and we know there have already been some outbreaks at different sites, look, they could end up having to close the school for a couple days, or they could end up having to send a couple departments home because their wing is shut down while they're sanitizing. So everybody having the ability to seamlessly transition to an e-learning kind of platform so you keep up with your kids in this very unique moment in time is a particularly useful thing. And so again, give it your all, and then also let us know what we need to have further conversations about down the road. But do know that in this moment in time, there is a benefit to some consistency among everyone in terms of knowledge of the programs and also how we're delivering, so that, again, we can continue that no matter what the future holds. Because as we all know, every day is like A new set of crazy. So yeah, I hope it ends soon, but we just,
And
there's some good reasons to do this right now.
yeah, and like we've had some discussion around the use of sick time when you are COVID positive. We're not quite there yet with an agreement. I know that we are working on protocols for your safety to be able to stay home if and when you were sick. So like I said, we had a productive day today, and they know our position and how we want to help you. So that I felt like they understand it, and they're going to come back, and I think we're going to be able to hammer something out, but we're not quite there yet. To that end, also leave of absence. If you were really hoping to get e-learning and there just weren't enough students at your site and it just didn't work out based on numbers, and you might not know yet, quite honestly, if you're there, the district is going to waive the 20-day notice that you would normally have to give for a leave of absence. So we did get that done today as well. So if at any point that you feel as if you cannot do this for various reasons, we at HCTA will help you get that leave of absence. Know that we're here to help you, and we have your back throughout that process.
But we do want to be very clear. Right now, even if you're nervous to go back to sites are going to have very limited people. Until such time as the school board makes some decisions, and that right now is scheduled to be August 6th at 9:30 a.m. So next week. Until that happens, I really do feel like, in talking to a number of principals and in talking to a number of you about what your principals are saying, look, we all know doing a master schedule for a high school is not an easy feat to begin with. But if you're now trying to plan for some people here and some people there, and I mean, it's very tough. So I think it is possible that a lot of you are not going to know for sure what's available until after that time. And even then, look, we know that at some sites, only 50% of the families have registered what their intent is. Now, the superintendent said for families that people default to brick and mortar, but again, I think you all probably, many of you saw the school board meeting where even school board members said they were not sure what they were doing with their own kids. And so as much as, we gave a deadline to families, the fact of the matter is they could show up to brick and mortar, or they could call the first day of school and say, register me in e-learning, and I think everybody's going to be flexible and get that done. So I just think, as much as it is difficult to kind of be in that limbo space, I think legitimately speaking, we're going to be there for a little while. And I very much appreciate some of your administrators who I think have tried their hardest when they know there's only one person in a department who has needs, so they know they'll be able to figure it out no matter what happens. I know, shout out to all the principals who I think have really been trying to bend over backwards to work with all of us and all of you. And I think this is so new to so many people that they're just not 100% sure what they can promise. So let's cut everybody a little slack in this next couple weeks while that happens, because look, your principals are having as hard a time with this as all of you are. Some of the same reasons, some for different reasons. So I do want to just say, Rob and I feel really strongly that school at each school site, like, look, everybody's in it together, and it's hard times, and so we want to say very strongly we want to work with our administrators where we can. We enjoy great relationships with most people. We've got a lot of new people in the district, so hopefully we will forge those relationships there as well. But this is not an easy time for anybody, and so let's do our best to work together. And where we can, you know where to find us. But that's definitely, we feel like people need a little more. None of us seem to have a lot of patience right now after all these months, and yet we kind of need it more than usual. So
Yeah, I just want to double down on that. When the administrators are having a tough time. They have the same anxiety that we all have. They have the same questions that we all have, and they have the same concerns. It's not easy for anyone, so please show patience, kindness, and grace whenever you can. And when there are issues at your site that we're overseeing, we don't even know what they may be right now, please bring them, bring those issues to your administration. Give them the first right to fix it. Very often they want to help and they want to make sure that they know what the problem is. So if we're having trouble there, of course, we are here for you. We want to know what's happening, and we will always have your back. But your administrators also want to help you, so we want to also give them the ability to do so. So we appreciate all of you and everything that you're doing, and we want you to have the safest possible return and the smoothest possible return, despite the conditions that we're all dealing with.
We want to wish you guys, we know we wanted to jump on quick tonight to be able to post a video on sort of the top things we know you need for tomorrow. Do remember, again, you're all adults. If something feels unsafe, excuse yourself. If you have concerns, talk to your principal and AP. But as much as you can, I mean, look, we all know you miss your kids and you miss each other. And it's tough to not, you're all going to want to run up and hug each other tomorrow, but you'll have to stop yourselves. I mean, we had to get used to in our office when we got back from lockdown going like, hey, virtual hug. So we wish all of you as smooth a day as tomorrow can be. And we're gonna keep slogging through all the new issues. Like Rob said, we're making good progress. We had a lot of people in the room today, and we had a lot of productive discussion, and the things you tell us are going to keep shaping what that discussion looks like. So have a great day tomorrow.
Yeah, be safe, everyone, and we'll be back at you as soon as possible.
All right. Talk to y'all soon.